You said you're not afraid of conversations.
Not at all. If you want to be in a helping role, you have to see how what you're doing responds to and meets the interest and is received by the person or group. We have wrong-headed education in so many of our helping professions, which is there's a best practice. Learn it, deliver it, you'll help. And my feeling is, well, the best practice I think you should learn is about how to get to a point of co-creating whatever help you're giving someone, including the rationale for what you're doing.
You said you're not afraid of conversations.
Not at all. Some people are having a conversation to share ideas and feelings and experiences. Some people are having a conversation to convince someone of something or of their own rightness. Someone is having a conversation to learn something from somebody else. So people have very different objectives in why they're having a conversation. And it helps if you think about what that is.
Remember that we had a conversation about the different ways someone may respond to a conflict. And I came up with this phrase of a message has a center of mass. And even if you wrap it with so many things, it still have a center of mass. What is it that negotiator is missing in their process of responding to a conflict?
It's a good question. And it's a question I would like every student studying negotiation to ask. So I like the question. Most people, when they're in a negotiation, let alone a conversation, are so busy thinking about what they think they're going to say next that they're not hearing what the other person is saying during the time before they're going to speak. I think what people are missing is hearing the other person in the group. And unless you actively try to hear both what's said and what's meant, you won't get it by accident. I think what people are missing is the opportunity to learn what the person who's talking to them is really trying to tell them, or what they really seek by way of advice, reaction, or input.
People are too much in their head, so they forget to be in the other heads as well.
Yeah, but they're in their head out of nervousness, out of fear. I don't know what I'm going to say now. I want to say a really good thing next. I don't know what that is. And they're thinking about it. And they can't be listening when they're absorbed in that. When you say they're in their head, it's not just that they only care about themselves, it's that they are nervous, defensive, worried, that they don't know what they're going to argue or say next. Not just the words, but the point, the meaning. And they're so wrapped up in working that out that they block out what the other person's saying. And so then they respond, it's not really to what was asked or what was presented. It's just about them. There was a period in my life, closer to your age, that I wrote plays. I produced those plays. And I'd like to think that I could script what a variety of other people in a conflict situation were thinking and might say before they say it, not because they're totally predictable, because I'm listening hard to try to understand what their interests are and what motivates them and what's going on. And part of this problem of not hearing what other people are saying is people don't have a space in their normal practice where they literally attempt to imagine in an empathetic way what the other side's thinking, feeling, and gonna say, which is like writing a script for a character in a play. If you imagine what someone's going to say or what a situation is going to turn into before it does, you can be better prepared and avoid that problem of the lack of preparation causing you to be so inwardly focused that you're not able to really respond. Put more energy, time, and effort into imagining what somebody else's point of view is, what they're feeling, what their concerns are, even what the strategy is that they're using to present their views. You're going to be in a much better position to respond to it, not to overwhelm it, but to interact with it because you can anticipate it and you're not nervous or worried about hearing it and not nervous of what you're going to say next. You could be wrong, but you have to be open to adjustments if you can imagine it and think about your response constantly being revised. I think you're going to keep learning more and want to revise your sense of the other person all the time. Well, it's where you would be stuck. I want to change my understanding fast enough because it's too much of a commitment of time and energy to one view of things. I want to be completely flexible. Actually discuss, oh, I was wrong in what I guessed. Now I'm listening, I hear these words, oh, that's really something very different. Okay, now how's my reaction going to change? So I think a lot of this is about not just being ready with a clear sense of what the other person wants, what I'm going to say, but being very flexible because there's any number of different ways I can respond. I can hear what you're saying and change my mind about what you need from me.
You said to have freedom in the mind to even engage with this endeavor, right?
Yes.
There are other things that can take these mental resources.
Yes.
Confidence.
Yeah. Somebody who's scared is not going to be open to completely different ways of thinking about what's happening. Someone who's scared is usually stuck. And if you're, I said to you, no, we want to have a conversation, fine. I don't need to know about it ahead of time. I'm not worried because I'm used to having a conversation with somebody about something about learning. No problem. Because I'm comfortable, if you change direction or if something you say has a second level meaning, I hope I'm going to hear it. Because I'm confident that whatever it is, I will respond to it.
What would you say to students that do not have this margin to engage with imagination? Let's say they're stuck in their head. What's the journey of creating the room?
I think the first thing is that I say to students is that you're completely capable of growth and change and improvement and adaptation. You don't have to be special to be capable of that. Everybody's capable of that. You just need to be reflective about it. You need to be more aware. The more aware you are, then the more you can try. And the more you try and stay aware, the more you can assess. And the more you can assess and try, the more you can adjust. And the more you adjust, the more confident you will be about your ability to adjust. So awareness, reflection, the key to getting out from under a situation where you feel stuck, lost, or don't know how to imagine what could happen. Now, how do you help someone become more reflective? Well, a trainer could help people learn to breathe. Most people don't know how to breathe. Most people don't understand what breath work is and how you could actually control your body by just concentrating on breathing in and out. You don't need a trainer, but that's what a trainer would do. Breathe, help you breathe. So you don't run out of breath before you're ready. It makes a difference. But I mean, just small physical things. And then I'd say spend more time talking to people you like. If you want to get better at talking to people you don't like. I don't think practicing on people you don't like is going to help you get better at talking to people you don't like. I think talking to people you like and you feel comfortable with, and then reflecting on what am I doing well that's working here in this context. Oh, okay, those things made a difference to how that conversation went. Now, can I try those with so-and-so who, not my friend, but I can get into a conversation with them, but I'm going to reflect on what's going to be special about my effort to get into that conversation. And I'm going to reflect on what I can learn from how it goes. And then I'm going to make an adjustment on purpose the next time. So the way for a student to get out of that situation of not being able to imagine things is to practice in a context where there's feedback, use it, and make small adjustments.
I remember a strong memory from the training. You have a superpower in crafting transformative experiences for people.
Part of my idea about teaching and learning is if people are trying to do a thing, not just hear about it.
Right.
Read these pages, you'll know about this. That doesn't mean you'll be able to do it. Listen to me tell you how to do it. Doesn't mean you're going to be able to do it. Try it in a simulated context with coaching, then you'll be able to learn how to do it. And the coaching needs to come in the form of questions. It needs to come in the form of support, which may require pushing hard to stop doing what you're doing and stop thinking what you're thinking. I gotta tell you to do that with some force, so I'm gonna get you to do that. I'm gonna try with questions, but ultimately I'm gonna take what I know, because you're in a simulated context that I know it's gonna happen next. And if there's a moment where you're headed in the wrong direction and there's still a chance for you to succeed, I'll give you a hint. That's coaching in that context.
I imagine it as there is a landscape and there are some holes, and you plant these holes, and the people are walking, and then they almost sleep there, and you get them to engage with this tension.
And they don't meet me first.
Yeah.
First, what just happened to me?
Yeah.
Can I conceptualize what the trap is that I just fallen into?
Right.
Now, what are the choices I have about what I can do to get out? Which one would be the best one to take? In a split second, you're thinking all of these things because you're aware in the moment of what's happening.
So you trigger moments where there is some tension for the players and the participants, where they must reflect and kind of grow their toolkit, because they don't have a prepared response. They may fail, or they may not do the optimal thing, and this is where the coaching is coming in, because they reflect, oh, I didn't know why this outcome came out of this situation. I came with these XYZ intentions, and I planned it, or I prepared, and I did not anticipate.
And think about the difference between Harvard Business School instruction around cases versus what we do in terms of instruction around role-play simulations. You say, here's a case about a famous person, here's what happened, and here's what the point they got to in the real story. Everybody please read that. Now, imagine you're that person at that moment in the real story. Tell us all what you would do next. You say what you say, and they say, okay, good. Next person, what would you say? They say, good. Next person, what would you say? No judgment.
No judgment.
What did you learn? Did you learn your reaction was based on right assumptions or wrong assumptions? What did you learn? And my sense is that it's really important that you will learn by being aware of just what you described. Oh, I slipped, I fell in this hole. Why did that happen? What can I do? Thank you for your description of what you think happens next in the story. Why do you think that? Well, how about why this person thought that? Why did the two of you think such different things?
Your pedagogy and how you go about creating these experiences. The outcomes of these experiences were almost a mirror that you create for someone to their deepest self. The experience you craft evokes latent aspects of the personality and the self and the beliefs and the assumptions and the practices from growing up till this day, and you bring them to the real world, and people confront them in reflections.
They won't confront them under normal circumstances because there's nothing that pushes them to be reflective about that set of things in everyday life. You just move on. You might go home and say, I don't feel good about what happened. If you had a personal theory of practice about that situation and had been tutored in the need to reflect every time something happens, do I revise my personal theory or not? Then when you got home and you didn't feel good, you say, what went differently from what I expected? What did I do that I shouldn't have done? You're judging yourself compared to the assumptions that are part of your explicit theory of practice that you have worked to make explicit, worked to build confidence in, and that can be enhanced constantly through systematic reflection. If you've been taught, hey, you want to get better at something? You need to reflect. It's not a secret. It's not a special thing. It's a pedagogy about getting people to be in touch with their own theories of what they should do and why, and then reflect on how did I do that? What should I learn and what can I do better? You have a last question?
Can I have two?
Try one, let's see what happens.
First one is short. Can I give you a hug?
Oh, sure.
One of the things I would have loved to do in life is to craft transformative experiences for people to grow, specifically in the realm of mental health and well-being. It's not specifically for being a negotiator, although negotiation is about being a better person. And what are the things I need to keep in mind if I want to engage with this endeavor of crafting transformative experiences? What do I need to keep in mind in the next 10 years?
If you assume for any specific thing you think about, anything you think about, that there's not just one way of doing it. There's not just one right way of doing it. So you start out in any particular realm where you're trying to help somebody or help someone help themselves with a thought about what to do, because you talk with some other people. Whatever it is, you have to be open to adjusting it as you go. It's not one thing, which if you just spent enough time thinking about it and read the superior source, then you would know what you're doing and then you could do it. It's not one. There's a prevailing notion based on studying and talking to people, and you want to see how it's going in real life. And it's not going as well as you'd like. You need to adjust it. So any helping that anybody wants to do, if I'll go get a degree or certificate, and then I'll know how to do this, and then the next person will come and I will help them, and then I will help them. And the helping is what you're doing. I don't think so. If you want to be in a helping role, you have to see how what you're doing responds and meets the interest and is received by the person or group you're trying to help, and learn from that quickly and adjust, because you want to have co-creation of the help and the helping process. You really want to help someone, you have to involve them in deciding what the help's going to be and how it's working and how it's delivered. It's negotiation.
Yeah.
Somebody's dealing with some kind of emotional problem. We have wrong-headed education in so many of our helping professions, which is there's the best practice. Learn it, deliver it, you'll help. And my feeling is, well, the best practice I think you should learn is about how to get to a point of co-creating whatever help you're giving someone, including the rationale for what you're doing. So that's a thing you could take with you always.
There is no one way.
One way,
and
try to co-create it with the people you're hoping to serve.
You're saying, hey, go to have a meeting with reality.
Yeah.
Have a meeting with reality and get to know reality.
And invite reality to give you more messages.
How? How to invite reality?
Listening.
By listening.
an infinite number of messages. We can't take them all in at once. You want to take in more? Listen harder. Listen from a different angle. Bring somebody with you who's listening with you.
Wow.
It's usually a function of what people are ready for. Consciously devote portions of your time more expeditiously to different steps relative to the things that you're doing. In other words, I don't know what your handwritten schedule looks like for the next day, the next week, month, year. You want to be more self-conscious about how much effort you're allocating to each stage in each thing you're working on. Maybe that means changing the amount of time to prepare or process some activity in a calendar. Maybe it means bringing your senses to a stop at a moment to make sure you've decided what you think about one thing before you start the next thing. I think you want to make sure you've put enough time into preparation before you do a thing. You want to put enough time into the early stages of talking with other people about it to hear their views before you formulate your own. You want to put enough time in trying the thing you want to do, and then enough time into reflecting on it, and enough time into modifying it and starting the cycle again. I'm not saying time management in the sense of a calendar. I'm talking about sort of the micromanagement of your time relative to the different things you're doing. Where am I in this effort? Where am I in the process? Am I in the problem definition? Option generation in terms of what I'm going to do? Am I in the implementation? Where am I? And what do I have to put in by way of time and effort at the next stage of that thing? It's great to be spontaneous, but I think over time, you will become more self-aware about the allocation of your time and effort in each of the things you're doing, not in the subject, but in the stage of the thing.
So there could be some stages that you would say it could be beneficial to invest more or less.
Less is a part of management, not just more. Every time I said, be more self-aware about allocating your time, that could mean less.
It could mean less.
That could be more.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thanks.
Yes.